So, this is another day, and today we will talk about why it's important to digest the information that you're consuming. So, there are a lot of people who say that, okay, I read a lot, I read 100 books in a year, I read 200 books in a year, that's good. But what are you condensing from that? What are you taking from that? What have you applied in your life? That is what actually matters, not what you're learning, but also what you're applying. So, only focusing on learning is not enough. You have to also focus on getting the learning and digesting it in yourself, and then applying that knowledge to whatever you're doing. And that is real learning. That is when your reading, or that is when your learning starts helping you. If you're just reading for the sake of reading to increase a number, okay, I've read 100 books, 200 books, it doesn't matter till the time you're putting it to application. Okay, I'm to be very honest, I'm not a person who reads a lot. I don't read a lot. I Whenever I try to read a lot, it's like, okay, but what am I reading it for? How much am I applying? So until I apply, I cannot read beyond that point. Once I start applying, once I feel the need for more information to further enhance my execution, then I read more. But just for the sake of reading, I do very little of that these days, because the reading is, it is a fancy term, and people think good of you, that okay, you are someone who reads, but that's great. But how much are you applying? That is what actually matters, and that is what you should focus on. That is what the emphasis should be on. That what are you applying? What are you executing on? Okay, that's what we'll. That's what I wanted to share today, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. So in this video you can see the movement of vehicles, and it's not less congested than on usual days. And this is after the COVID restrictions are in place. If you see this flyover, there is actually a traffic jam over there, and you see the frequency at which the cars are moving, like it's not any less congested. And for that reason, today even the private offices in Delhi have been asked to work from home. So it's now imposed. So now they cannot even function at 50% capacity. This should have come a long time back, that they should have directly imposed a proper work from home policy for everyone. But never mind, better late than never. But as of today, on the roads, it doesn't seem like they are any less crowded. Even you'd be able to hear the noise of the horns and everything. So let's see how it is tomorrow. We'll see tomorrow if it's any less crowded or not. But the cases are on the rise, and the restrictions are increasing every passing day, just as the cases are increasing. Let's just hope that this doesn't turn out as bad as the Delta variant. Let's just hope that. Okay. Hey, so today we're going to read this blog, The Surprising Power of the Long Game. In a world where most people play the short game, playing the long game offers a huge advantage. There is an old saying that I think of often, passed to me by my friend Peter Kaufman. If you do what everyone else is doing, you shouldn't be surprised to get the same results everyone else is getting. Unless you're lucky. Doing what everyone else is doing ensures average results. The problem is we don't want the same outcomes as everyone else. We want different outcomes. Different outcomes come from doing different things, or doing things differently. It's easy to overestimate the importance of luck on success and underestimate the importance of investing in success every single day. Too often, we convince ourselves that success was just luck. We tell ourselves the school teacher that left millions was just lucky. No, she wasn't. She was playing a different game than you were. She was playing the long game. The most successful people in any field all play the long game. The long game isn't particularly notable. It doesn't attract a lot of attention. In fact, from the outside, the long game looks boring. The tiny advantages that accrue aren't noticed until success becomes too obvious to ignore. The short game is intermittent. It's as if Sisyphus pushes his huge boulder halfway up a steep hill, gets tired, lets it roll down the hill, and says to himself, I'll come back and do this tomorrow. This is the human condition. The long game allows you to compound results. The longer you play, the better the rewards. The short game. The short game is putting off anything that seems hard. The short game is taking advantage of your counterparty. The short game is spending more than you earn. The selection of the small game is visible and immediate benefits. Example of the short game includes spending more than you earn, not taking care of your health or relationships, taking every last penny you can from a customer, having an opinion on something you don't know anything about. The longer you play the short game, the harder it gets. On any given day, the impact is small, but as days turn into months and years, the result is enormous. Just as the accumulation of tiny advantages makes the future easier, the accumulation of tiny advantages makes the future harder. Only when the costs become too large to ignore do people realize they played the wrong game, the long game. The long game is the opposite of the short game. Playing the long game means paying a small price today to make tomorrow easier. From the outside, the long game looks pretty boring. Leaving the party early to make sure you get sleep, you get some sleep, eating healthy when everyone else is eating junk, investing in your relationships every day so you have a foundation when something happens, going for a walk rather than watching Netflix, spending less than you make, and countless other examples. The long game isn't really debatable. Everyone agrees. For example, we should spend less than we make and invest the difference. While you won't become a millionaire overnight by spending less than you earn, you'll never become one if you spend more than you earn. The first step is the hardest. You have to be willing to suffer today in order to not suffer tomorrow. This is why so few people play the long game. Conclusion: every action is a step toward the short game or the long game. You can't opt out, and you can't play a long game in everything. You need to pick the what matters to you. But in everything you do, time amplifies difference between long and short term games. The question you need to think about is when and where to play a long game. A good place to start is with things that compound: knowledge, relationships, and finances. Incredible article, incredible learnings. I don't need to say anything more about it. He just said it in the best possible words and as directly as possible. You either play the long game or you play the short game. The people who play the long game aren't that fancy in the short term, but they win in the long term. The people who play the short game are fancy and cool in the short term, but they don't sustain that winning for the long term, and they just win for the moment, but they don't win for the decade. You have to keep that in mind and always try to play the long game. Hey, so that was the day from my side. Pretty decent day, and a lot of things stuffed into it. But yeah, good one. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.